welcome to the Ranger's Respite. I'm Philip, and this is Drinking Geeks. Okay. Recording a review on time for once. First thing to note is members of the Whiskey Club and Patreon voted twice this week, actually. The first one to select what I was going to originally review this week, and then another time as to whether or not I was going to stick with that or review a new release that was just made available in Virginia as of the 1st of July. The answer was the new release. So, I'm going to be talking about Old Tub. Now, this has an interesting backstory. The bourbon that the James B. Beam family originally distilled was called Old Tub. And at some point, I'm not entirely sure when, they went to putting the Jim Beam name on the whiskey. Now, this isn't a new product. This, strangely enough, was available before, but I couldn't get it. The only way to get Old Tub until very recently was to visit the Jim Beam Distillery in Claremont, Kentucky. I had to double check because I suddenly had a brain fart and thought it might have been like Louisville or somewhere, but nope, it's Claremont. And because of the only way you can get it is to get it at the distillery, it made some people's list of like 100 whiskeys to try before you die. As a sort of, not necessarily for its quality or amazing price or rarity, although yes, kind of for rarity, but because there was only one place to get it. Now there are some differences between this and this. The first one being that this is a sour mash whiskey, and this isn't, or at least it doesn't say that it is. Second is that this is a bottle and bond, which means that it is at least 4 years old. Sorry, I always start in the wrong place. Bottle and bond means that it is the product of one season of distilling from one distillery that is aged in government supervised and insured warehouses for no less than 4 years and bottled at 100 proof or 50% alcohol. This is also totally unfiltered. It says that they strain the barrel chunks out and that's it. This is probably chill filtered and whatnot because it's bottled at 40%, which sort of the, I'm not really 100% sure on the science. Somebody can probably clarify on this, but if you don't filter whiskey, when you get below about 45%, it starts to get weird and cloudy and sedimenty, and that doesn't sell well amongst people who would look at it and go, there's stuff floating in this whiskey. Yeah, this is very interesting, and it says that it's a limited edition. It says on the front, unfiltered for more robust flavor. Before Jim Beam bourbon, the Beam family made Old Tub, an unfiltered bonded bourbon. Old Tub was the foundation for what would become the world's #1 bourbon. This limited edition bottle is a tribute to that groundbreaking whiskey. I don't know how limited edition it is. Jim Beam produces more bourbon than anybody else. I think the only people that come close are Evan Williams. And previous limited releases that I've encountered from Jim Beam In particular, the Distiller's Cut were limited release, but were pretty widely available. You could go anywhere and get them. They have since discontinued the product, and I haven't seen any on store shelves. Virginia doesn't have any, etc., and so forth. Um, but it's kind of cool in the, you know, yeah, it's just cool. It's a sort of a part of Kentucky history, of American history, and the history of distilling. Now, might as well pour myself a glass. As you can tell, I've already opened it and had some, because I'm impatient. I would like to note that I actually really like this label. I think that it is a well-designed label to market this very effectively. I should probably explain at some point what the sour mash process is. Basically, sour mash whiskeys are made by taking a portion of the um, the wort from one run over into the next to provide consistency and to keep the flavor the same. And the result is that the mash beer, the wort, becomes sour, um, as opposed to being a relatively sweet concoction. On the nose, there's like graham cracker, brown sugar, cinnamon, little bit of char, vanilla. I mean, it's pretty interesting and complex, and some like butteriness. It's a little bit astringent and hot for 100 proof. It kicks you with some sharp rye spice, a little bit of that kind of slightly funkiness that you get. Um, Lots of barrel impact. I mean, it's no surprise. Cinnamon, just like a little hint of that, like brown sugar and graham cracker from the nose. The finish is long, it's slightly oily. And it's lots of like cinnamon and like rye spice. I think this is probably a fairly high rye mash bill, which makes me wonder how similar it is to another bonded Jim Beam product. I actually really like Old Granddad Bottled and Bond. I also like the 114. If you want to see me compare these, do a side by side with them, I guess you'll have to make your opinion known somehow, whether that be through commenting or joining my Patreon. Anyway, on the finish, it's quite. I mean, I'm still getting lingering cinnamon and barrel impact and smoke. Well, not exactly smoke, but char, like the bark on like if you take a steak with black pepper and salt on it and char it. That's sort of the char that I'm getting off of this, which is interesting. It is quite spicy. I like it. For a grand total of $21.99, or actually $21.19, because it's $19.99. and then taxes ends up being 21 something. But anyway, which puts it about the same price point as the Old Granddad Bottle and Bond. I think this is a good pickup. Don't know how long it's available, so if you see it, I would just go ahead and buy a bottle. It's worth it. It's pretty good whiskey. Let's see. What else? Right. So, next week, back to the scheduled reviews. I will review next week what I was originally going to review this week, barring some unforeseen circumstances. If you would like to vote on what I review in the future, you can do so by spending $1 a month on my Patreon, for which you get voting rights and access to a Discord where you can talk to myself, the host of the other show that will be coming eventually to this channel, and members of the Whiskey Club. We talk about alcohol, nerdy things. It's a pretty chill environment. You also get to suggest cocktails and whatnot to do for Drinking Geeks episodes. If you kind of don't really want to contribute $1 a month, which adds up to $12 a year, you can instead buy a sticker from my Etsy shop. There will be a link in the description down below. For $3, you can buy yourself a That's the Spirit pot still sticker, which is quite cute. It was designed by my friend Alyssa, Apricot Studios on Instagram and Twitter. And I think that is everything for today. So, without further ado, stay happy, stay geeks, sláinte.